Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to my audience. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mazlina binti Kamal Zaman, and my co-author is Muhammad Nasrul bin Abdul Rahman and Nurul Elina Ashikin binti Muhammad Zaki. I would first like to thank for giving me opportunity on speaking of the topic risk assessment of pushing and pulling among mechanics at Tyre Service Centre. This is the outline that will describe my presentation today. For introduction, car tire service centre are considered to be among the most hazard in the automotive environment. Various car tire involve handling heavy objects such as installation and replacing a tire and rim. Musculoskeletal disorder are injuries or pain in the human musculoskeletal system, including joint, ligament, muscle, nerve, and tendons. Among the industrial workers, mechanics are at a greater risk for MSD. MSD affecting muscle and joint are one of the top causes of workplace accident and early retirement due to worker incapacity to carry out their normal daily work. And then for the manual handling related to the moving of item either by lifting, lowering, carrying, pushing or pulling. Risk factor associated with the disorder include manual handling activities, repetitive movement and awkward posture such as bending, reaching or twisting. Next, for the problem statement, symptom and disorder of the musculoskeletal symptom are the most common reason for absence from work in Malaysia. Mechanics are potentially exposed to hazard or risk of manual handling in the tire service centre, and this will lead mechanics to some musculoskeletal symptom. And then for the objective, first, to determine the musculoskeletal symptom among mechanic at Tyre Service Centre using Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire. To evaluate the level of manual handling risk assessment using risk assessment of pushing and pulling RAPP. To examine the relationship between the Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire with RAPP score. Okay, for the literature review, this is some literature review for musculoskeletal disorder and manual material handling among mechanic at Tyre Service Centre. And for the data collection, for the sample size, this survey was conducted among mechanic during pandemics, and however, Perak is selected as one of the most suitable place as list of COVID-19 case, and this study was conducted at Taiping, Perak. There were 160 mechanics selected randomly from 40 tire service center, and then the questionnaire were given to all staff that willing to participate. And for the data collection, in order to determine the symptom of musculoskeletal disorder, data were collected using demographic variable and Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire. And for the RAPP score was used to evaluate the manual material handling in relation to the lifting, lowering, pushing, pulling and carrying. And for the data analysis, the data was manually edited and analyzed using SPSF software. The study using mean, standard deviation and chi-square. The significance was set at p below than 0.05. Chi-square used to analyze by looking the difference in MSD prevalence and the risk between the tools. And then for the result and discussion, for the Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire and risk assessment of pushing and pulling, this is some example for Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire. Okay, for the demographic data, a total of 160 mechanics participate in this study, giving a response rate of 100%. The mean age of the respondent was 28.89. with a standard deviation 7.64, range between 19 to 52 years old. A majority of 61 of the respondents had between 4 to 7 years experience in the workshop. A total of 86 respondents reported working more than 8 hours. A total of 47 of participants had a normal BMI. Then respondents were also asked about their medical history. In response, 59 admit that they have a medical history in systematic illness. And then for the percentage of musculoskeletal symptoms of mechanic in body region within 12 months, in this study, 76.86% mechanic experience musculoskeletal complaint in at least one body region over within the last 12 months, as illustrated in these figures. The highest complaint of MSD is at the low back region, with a percentage of 79.81%, followed by the shoulder, 68.97%, and elbow at 59.48%. And then next, for the risk assessment of pushing and pulling RAPP, this table show that the reported risk factor in pushing and pulling assessment RAPP with a score of good, color show green, reasonable show amber color, poor show red color. From this assessment, posture shows significant height risk, which a total of 36 respondents in poor posture, followed by the work pattern and condition of equipment, with 23 and 21 respondents respectively. This is some example how mechanics doing their works. And then for the relationship between NMQ and RAPP score, from this table show the relationship between demographic characteristic and reported musculoskeletal symptom at least in one body region within 12 months. This table show that there was a significant associate between MSD and demographic data, where P below than 0.05, which are employment duration, daily working hours, body mass index, and medical history. However, there is no significance between musculoskeletal symptom with age. And then next, for the relationship between reported physical risk factor and musculoskeletal symptoms, from this table, it shows that there is a clear associate between MSD within last 12 months and the risk assessment pushing or pulling in all factors. It shows due to the extreme posture, work pattern, and equipment condition, most of mechanics are at a medium risk of developing musculoskeletal symptoms. And then the objective of the research was to investigate the relationship between risk assessment of pushing and pulling and musculoskeletal symptom, which indicate the most affected area are lower back pain, shoulder pain, and elbow. Manual handling involved in pushing and pulling are common cause of MSD, and from the result it show posture, work pattern, grip on the load contribute to the most. It can be shown when replacing a tire, mechanic frequently spend a lot of time kneeling or bending on their backs. And then mechanic also work in the same posture for 2 to 4 hours with their forward and bend more than 15 degrees. Mechanic also encounter strain and stress in their lower back and upper area. As a result, they have a squat position in a longer time, and then the awkward position put the mechanics in causing pain in those areas. And then next, for the conclusions, control should be put in workplace to minimize or eliminate the risk of work-related entire body. And then basically the job of mechanic is one of the occupation in developing MSD. Based on the result, it shows that most of the mechanic experience lower back, shoulder and elbow when doing their specific job regardless on their workplace. RAPP deal with medium risk in developing MSD, and for some recommendation, provide frequent job rotations, and then train workers in recognizing their risk factor, and perform stretching exercise, provide wellness program, reduce their overtime, and using low vibration. And then for the limitation of this study, many of the mechanics were not willing to spend too much time to be interviewed as they were on duty. They may lead to withholding of certain information in order to save the time. I think that's the end of my presentation today. Thank you.